drops on the floor. We see it drop, and we choose not to pick it up. To us, it's just loose change. It's a penny, it's a nickel, it's a dime, it's a quarter. But to someone else, this is the difference between struggling and not struggling for the day. 1 in 30 children live homeless, according to the American Institute of Research. So why do I have an interest in this? In middle school, my family adopted or fostered a foster brother. I had a brother for 2 months because his family couldn't provide for him what we could. We had him from JAFCO, which is the Jewish Adoption Foster Care Options, and it's an organization that has houses on the facility that kids can live on, and they feed them and they try to educate them. So the reason I'm speaking to you guys today is because we need to understand what poverty is, what causes it, and what we can do to help. So the first statement I said was, what is poverty? Poverty, according to the Child Poverty Action Group, is a lack of resources and amenities that are customary to society. They don't have what we take for granted. That's why I said the lack of resources, because that's the biggest word I can emphasize to you guys, the lack of resources. 1 in 3 kids are at a risk for hunger, according to CNN. This is because our pantry kitchens can't keep up with the demand of these kids. We don't have enough supply coming in to feed the amount that needs to be fed. Even Silicon Valley, which is America's wealthiest city, is struggling. This shows it's not just in a certain area or in a certain state. It shows the range from upper class to lower class of the poverty issue. I'm going to show you guys a graph now showing that the US is the second highest poverty rate in the developed countries. The only higher country is Romania. So now look at the fact that we have about 24, and Iceland, the lowest one, has about 4. That means we're 6 times the poverty rate of the lowest country. Growing up poor has many consequences. Kids are hungry and sick more often, according to the Institute of Research, and their learning is faltered, which in turn affects their future. They might not be able to get the jobs that we're able to get because they don't have the education that we've been provided. Lastly, people are forced to live in inhumane areas that they're forced to call home. This is seen in the case with Angelina, who, according to CNN, actually lives in a garage. That's her house. Her parents rent out a garage because they can't afford housing themselves. This is seen, it's a very common issue. We see this in houses where multiple people live in the same house. It's the same concept with Angelina, who's forced to stay in a garage. So what are the causes of homelessness? Homelessness sprouts from single-parent incomes, racial disparities, natural resources like tornadoes and hurricanes that we can't prevent, and of course there's the fact that the national wage still hasn't really raised much enough to provide for families. So what can we do to help? Well, I'm going to start with a fact. 1 in 5 children live below the poverty level. Just so you guys understand, that's 20 to 22% of children who are officially homeless. This is seen with the fact that household income from 2005 to 2013 has slowly decreased. If we continue to let this happen, by the time 2015, 2016 comes around on this graph, it's going to be a lot lower. That's because we continue to drop every year. So what can we do to help the kids? Well, we can start with some sort of child care. If we have a place where kids can go, which we do have, but we need more of, if we have a place where they can go and stay where their parents work, they can get educated, they can get fed there, and it's a shelter for them of some sorts. Next, we can give back, which is what we're going to do today. So now, what can we do for the families of these kids who are also struggling? The first thing we can do is invest in programs that work. This can start with economic plans that focus on low-income families to get them back on their feet. We could boost the minimum wage, which God knows that's the age-old question. Every year it goes up a little bit, but not enough to truly help anyone. The last thing we could do is boost housing subsidies. This would be able to have them live in it for more affordable causes. Their rent wouldn't be so high, or they wouldn't have such a high mortgage. So now visualize your favorite plate. Your mom just made the best dinner, your favorite dinner. But she makes it every week, so what's the big deal for us? To someone else, that plate is gold. They would die for that plate because they're homeless, they're hungry, they're struggling on the streets. So we really do take for granted what we have. So now I'm going to ask everyone to empty their pockets like I'm going to do and help out by donating change that I'm going to give to JAFCO, which is the organization I spoke about before that will actually give back to the kids directly. So child poverty costs the U.S. about $500 billion per year. But an even more alarming fact is that 1 in 20 children live on $2 a day. We spend $2 a day on candy bars. We spend $5 a day on coffee. So I'm going to challenge every one of you, instead of using the $2 or the $5 we spend on the stuff that we get every day and take for granted, we give back. I don't care what donation you guys pick it towards. You pick your organization and you donate, because every person can make a difference.